I know you are getting a vertical weekly planner for 2024. Look me in the eyes and tell me you haven't already purchased your vertical weekly planner for 2024. That's right. You can't, because you have, and so have I. There are a ton of vertical weekly planners on the market, from Hobonichi to Sterling Ink to Happy Planner, Jibun Techo. There's just a million. And I love them. They're so addicting to buy and to use, but every time without fail that I get a brand new vertical weekly planner, I open it up to the first week in January that I can finally use it, and I just draw a complete blank. I just completely forget every time everything I know about vertical weeklies and how I want to use them. So today I wanted to make a nice little index of ways that I have used vertical weeklies in the past and that I have seen others use vertical weeklies in the past, so that we can all reference this video and come back to it when inevitably we open our vertical weeklies and are like, what the heck was I gonna do here? If you are new to vertical weeklies, welcome. It is a wide, wonderful world. And if you have been using a vertical weekly for a while, make sure to drop how you use your weeklies down in the comments below so we can all share the love. Okay, let's head over to the flat lay and go through a few options. So if you clicked on this video, I assume that means you know what a vertical weekly planner looks like, but essentially this is what it is. The vertical weekly is a standard weekly in that you're viewing 7 days at once, but they each have a vertical timeline, usually broken up by hour. So in the Hobonichi Cousin, it's a 24-hour clock. In other planners, it might be a 12-hour clock or an 18-hour clock or something like that. Occasionally a vertical weekly planner like the Happy Planners have just one block in the morning, one block in the afternoon, one block in the evening, and they're not timed at all, but it is sort of vertically laid out. Often there's also a sidebar of some kind. We will not be discussing sidebars in this video, but you can use that for anything you like related to your weekly or not. Let's talk about the first way to set up your vertical weekly, which is scheduling. Now, scheduling refers to putting things in your weekly, your plans and appointments for the week at the time that they are happening. This is a real week in my life in which I planned via scheduling. I usually do some sort of scheduling when I'm planning my weekly. And to create this, you want to write your appointments at the time that they are going to be happening and then bracket off that space like I've done here with work. You can visually design this however you want. Some people do like arrows, some people block off the whole thing with a highlighter. You can also add any additional details in this space if you like. So say for work this day, I needed to bring a lunch. I knew I was not going to have time to run out and buy a lunch, so I needed to bring a lunch. I would write bring lunch, or you can also write in your to-do list if you like in here. Sometimes I've seen people do that. It doesn't super work for me, but this is a way that I've done it in the past, where I've written out a to-do list after I've scheduled out the day. If you find yourself needing a snapshot of your week in advance, this is for you. I think it's really effective when I plan my week in advance and I can just note the dates and times I'm doing everything that week. It just sort of solidifies it in my memory. If you also use your planner as your primary scheduler, like there's no Google Calendar or anything else for you, this also might be for you, so you can actually place your appointments in context. Instead of just like forward planning them in a monthly, for example, you can come to the designated week and write down the specific time it's happening as well. So method number 2 is time blocking. And we're back in the Hobonichi Cousin for this because I couldn't find a good example of me doing this in my planner, but I do this a lot in my Google Calendar, which is also a vertical weekly. If you've ever used Google Calendar or the Apple Calendar that's native on like Apple computers, there's a vertical weekly in the calendar view. So you can do it that way too. So I time block a lot in there, but for the purposes of this, I'm showing you in the Hobonichi Cousin, just a sample week. This is pretty much a traditional, like, not traditional, but my weeks often look a lot like this with these types of things included. When you time block, the idea is that you're setting aside certain large sections of time to work on specific activities. So actually, when you go into the week, you're not saying, I do YouTube every single day here, or I do deep work every single day here. You're actually coming in knowing that you need to do 2 deep work blocks for your 9 to 5 every single week, and then you're like, when can I fit those in, right? And it has to be protected. It has to be dedicated to deep work. I'm going to do those on this Tuesday, this Thursday, or if like I don't get to it on this Thursday, I have another slot where I can move it in and do it on Friday. So if that makes sense, the blocks are sort of like what you want to get done, and then you kind of Tetris them into your week. You can make this really effective by adding your priorities right into the vertical weekly. So I'm calling this block YouTube, right? But specifically
specifically, I know I will be scripting on that day. It's not just YouTube in general, and I open my to-do list app and see a massive to-do list for things I need to do for YouTube. I know on Tuesday morning from 6 to 8, I will be scripting YouTube, and that is what I will be doing with that time. Every other YouTube task I have scheduled out elsewhere. Like on Wednesday evenings, I review the video, I create the thumbnail. On Saturdays, I film and I brainstorm new ideas for videos. That is when those things are happening, so I can fully focus on scripting on Tuesday mornings, for example. You can also do things like, chores. Generally, I hold a block of chores over the weekend. What am I specifically going to be focusing on this weekend? Stuff like that. Make sure when you're time blocking to set aside some time for family and date night and personal time. Super important, because we often forget that. It's not all about productivity, people. It's also about your peace. You know what I mean? So set aside some time blocks and protect them. The next method is doing a to-do list right in your Vertical Weekly. This one is super simple. You just write the to-do list every single day. I've seen this be successful as well when people write out segmented to-do lists. So you can see for Monday, Tuesday here, I just have today's list, but on Wednesday I have work and personal, and that's how I'm splitting up my task lists. I also have an option morning and evening, and I'm splitting up my task lists like that. One thing I personally really like to do is I like to split it up by appointments and tasks. So I will set aside a little list here of appointments that include everything from meetings to generally protected time. So I have like movie night, soccer game, dentist here, stuff like that. Pretty much anything that is scheduled that I know is coming up that day that I have to be somewhere for someone. I have in an appointments block, and I also then have a separate task list that just has a running task list of everything I need to get done, sometimes related to those appointments, sometimes not. Another option for to-do lists is having a priorities section and then an other section. I've also used this one to great effect. I really like this method because if you set aside 3 priorities and it's not overwhelming, they're just tasks, you can really easily get those done, and then you can move on to other. It just segments out your to-do list again in a way that focuses you on what you actually need to be doing. So in this setup, you can see this is just a sample setup that I've done. It's pretty messy. You can again make this as pretty or as ugly or as messy or as clean as you like. I think the advantage of having your daily to-do list in a weekly view is that you often have to do less migrating than a day per page. So if I was finishing up something on this day but I didn't finish it here, I would have to migrate it to the next day, and that's just a lot of like flipping back and forth in a way that I find personally irritating. So less migrating, and also you can see the full scope of the things you have to do that week in one go. I understand the focus of a daily page, but putting it in a weekly enables you to be like, oh, today I have to call the dentist, and that really can't wait because these days I'm super busy in my morning, phone call block or whatever. You can basically see what you have coming up and make sure you're planning appropriately in order to get your tasks done.
I want to take a quick break and thank Hubman and Chubgirl, who are kindly sponsoring this video. Hubman and Chubgirl create beautiful bespoke boxes of stickers and stationery supplies for all your planning needs. These boxes come stuffed to the brim with stickers, stationery, accessories, and in some cases even a brand new planner. So whether you are trying to spice things up with a new theme or just glow up an old planner, Hubman and Chubgirl has your back. This box is full of some pretty great goodies, so we're gonna take a closer look. Oh, no, it's so cute. It's so cute. I didn't expect that. Why didn't I expect it to be so cute?
So this is the full package of stuff that Hubman and Chubgirl sent me. All of this stuff, which is kind of insane, and a whole planner, just a whole Vertical Weekly planner in wide. I kind of am obsessed with the size. I've never used this size of planner before, so that'll be kind of cool. But if you just want the extra stickers, you can buy like things like this, tons of things in the palette, in the theme that are really cute.
They have all sorts of themes as well, so if this whole autumn leaves thing isn't your vibe, but like, why wouldn't it be your vibe? Anyway, they also have coffee, cats, work life, cactuses. I got like a sleepy cat theme the last time I got one, and it was pretty cute. I used it for a long time. And there's something new every single month, so you're never running out of cool new things to try in your planner. And if the whole box is a bit much for you, they also have smaller kits with just the stickers that fit your Hobonichi perfectly, or whatever planner you're planning on using. So if you want to make deco super easy and have a brand new theme for every single month of the year, head to the link in my description box below and use the code Rachelle15 to get a sweet 15% off your order. Okay, now that we have our autumn sticker lineup for the rest of the fall, let's get back to talking about ways you can organize your vertical weekly.
The next way that you can set up your weekly is by time tracking. So instead of planning ahead, you're sort of planning backwards. So you're logging what you did during the day after you have done it. So this can be either super strict or super loose. In a more strict sense, which I've done on these 2 days, you're time tracking maybe like hour by hour, going into your planner and noting what you did for that hour. You can, maybe with the aid of an alarm or something, and write down what you did. Like you can see like hour by hour, I have like wake up, getting ready, breakfast, work, morning meetings, lunch, work, what I worked on, a meeting that I had, like wrapping up, commute, dinner. Like it's kind of exhausting to do it this way sometimes, although I think it can be quite good if you're trying to get a real sense of where your time is going. But you can also do it more loose, like checking in the morning, afternoon, evening, or even once a day and making guesstimates to the best of your ability. So on this column, I've kind of done that here where I just said chill morning, like I chilled out. I probably did get ready during that, but I'm not obsessing over how long it took me to wash my face. I'm just noting that I had a pretty chill morning. I had work, I had some morning meetings, I had a short lunch that day, I did a lot of emails in the afternoon. I probably did some other stuff here, not just emails as a 4-hour block, right? I probably did some other stuff. And then I commuted home and then I had dinner. And that's more general, more chill. If you struggle with actually knowing where your time is going during the day, I really recommend trying this method for a while so that you can get a clearer sense of what your days actually look like compared to your aspirations. So personally for me, I do love a pre-plan. I do love to set up my weeks like this, but a lot of times this doesn't quite go to plan. So then my next option is to time track and write out what I actually did so that I can better understand when I'm planning in the future. I actually recommend this method as a temporary method because I think it's really exhausting to do all the time. But if you do it temporarily for like maybe 2 weeks at a time, you can get a lot of data about how you're actually spending your time. And it's really, really interesting when you look back on it. I'm going to make another video with more information on time tracking and what I learned from time tracking myself. But what is important, I think, is to not judge yourself when you're time tracking. You might be really inspired to fudge the truth here and there when looking back. Like, I didn't really spend that much time on Instagram, or no, I did all my work in this block or whatever. But it's better to be with this practice and be honest with it so that you can get an accurate sense of what you have accomplished and where you can improve. So like you can see right here, spent all morning distracted by Instagram. I really wrote that down, and that is actually a real time tracking block that I have really written down when I have tried time tracking. So yeah, we all make mistakes. We all spend a bunch of time on Instagram. It's okay. But it is important to note because I'm spending that's 1, 2, 3 hours that I spent on Instagram during the day. And now I know that's why I didn't get my work done that day, because I spent all morning on Instagram. So important to be honest. Really good, very rich in information kind of practice to do, at least for a couple weeks at a time. The next way I want to show you guys is health logging. And I did this in the same weekly spread because frankly I couldn't be bothered to do more. But the health log is sort of similar to time tracking in that you're putting things in at specific times that you did them, but it is more about what you ate, when you worked out, and other health related activities. So for example, you can see here I have when I woke up and how much sleep I got. I'm also noting that. Wake up 9 hours of sleep, wake up 8 hours of sleep. I'm noting when I did my workouts and what I did. So I went to the gym, I did legs. Had a black coffee in the morning. On this day, I worked out and I did cardio for a couple of hours. Stuff like that. Again, noting what I ate, noting what I worked out, noting when I went to sleep. Occasionally, I also do this where I note what I ate and then how it made me feel. When I was younger, I used to have a coach who would have me log everything I ate and how it made me feel when I played sports, and that was revolutionary and life-changing. So what I really think is important for the health log is not just logging what you did or like logging if you took a sick day or whatever, but also having some kind of takeaway down at the bottom or maybe on the sidebar or on a sticky note, wherever you want to put it, and just writing down how you felt during the day. So for my sample takeaways down here, I felt good working out in the morning on Friday, this day when I, for some reason, had dinner at Chipotle and then went out for drinks, high class restaurant Chipotle. And I wrote that drinks made me feel nauseous, right? So then I can further inform my future self when I'm looking back on this. I can say like, okay, drinks tend to make you nauseous, girl. Like maybe you should not do Chipotle and then drinks, maybe no one should. On this day I didn't get good sleep because I went to bed late. So there you go. Like it's connecting what you're feeling health-wise with what you're actually doing to your body and with your body during the day. So I think this one can be really, really cool. The last way I want to talk about is memory keeping. I've shown this spread on the channel before, but this was that weird space, liminal space in between Christmas and New Year's week when I was visiting family and friends, and I just had the best time memory keeping it because I had nothing to schedule because things just came up as they needed to. So you can obviously memory keep in a week that is more scheduled, of course. But essentially what you're doing here is you're looking back on memories that you made during the day and you're writing them down, sometimes with decoration or ephemera. You'll often see a lot of character stickers, a lot of ephemera, a lot of sort of micro journaling in memory keeping spreads. And depending on your style, you might pay close attention to the times or you might not. For the purposes of this example here, some things are timed out, like I've sort of time blocked with a highlighter on the side when like my aunt was coming to visit, for example, or when we went to the art store. But you can see that like I wrote slept way in at 7:30. That's not sleeping way in, okay? Obviously, I wanted to fill up this whole space with a cute sticker, so I did. And then I have a little piece of ephemera over here from the art store that we went to, so it was really cool to have that and paste that in my journal. I wrote like movie ratings, stuff like that. Basically just like what you're doing, how you felt about it, what the memory is. You can write it down in this capacity. And then this becomes like a very joyful place to look back on when you're flipping through your old planners. It can be really nice. So I wanted to give you guys an example of how this all sort of works together. For me anyways, a lot of the times what I do is I will schedule out my week like I showed you. I'll put work, I'll put the brackets, I'll put work, put the brackets, put Survivor, like I was going to watch Survivor at a friend's house, filming, like these are dated activities that I have to do, that I wanted to do, that I planned ahead at the beginning of my week. I also planned my workouts up here, even though I didn't specifically time them. I was just like, this is what I want to do on this day. So a little bit of health planning in there. And this is what was me tracking my intermittent fasting window, which was this like dark highlighter color. But I also did things like I wrote down a little bit of micro journaling, right? I watched a movie called Patterson, and I talked about how I really loved it and how calm it was and how good it made me feel. I even did some loose time tracking in here. I watched Love is Blind at this moment. I went to the gym at lunch. I dawdled all day afterwards. Remember being honest with yourself. So you can really combine methods and do what works for you. I even wrote like what I ate one day, didn't I? Oh, 8 chips felt bad. Yes, exactly. 8 chips felt bad. Now I know, right? So you can kind of combine these things in order to make it all work for you.
Those are a few ways that you can use your vertical weeklies. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you plan on using a vertical weekly for the rest of 2023 or 2024, let me know down below what planner you're using and how you use your vertical weekly, and if you're going to be trying any of the tips we talked about in this video. I love you guys so much. Thank you for hanging out, for being subscribed, for being awesome. I have another video right here next to my head if you want to keep hanging out with me on YouTube, or you can go follow me on Instagram. I'm at Rachel in Theory over there. Thank you again to Hubbin and Chub Girl for sponsoring this video, and I will see all of you guys in the next one. Bye.